Hello and thank you for joining us on Newsweek, where we highlight some of the biggest stories that made the headlines recently. I am Jacinta Agochukwu. This week, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sends 28 names of ministerial nomination to the Senate for confirmation, as 11 states have weighed second list amid intrigues, lobbying. And as well, this week, the federal government moves to stop labor unions from embarking on nationwide strike. And later on the show, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas allocates 80 committees to APC lawmakers, 54 to opposition parties. All the details in a moment. Stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. 2 days before the deadline for the submission of the ministerial nominees, as stipulated by the Constitution, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the list consisting of 28 nominees. Prominent names of people who made the list are the immediate past Governor of Rivers State, Nelson Wike, his counterparts from Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, Ebonyi State, David Umahi, and Jigawa State, Abubakar Badaru. The President, through his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, promised to send 14 more nominees. Besides, 11 states are yet to have representatives in the list of ministers designate. The state expected to make up the supplementary list are Adamawa, Bayelsa, Gombe, Kano, Kebbi, Kogi, Lagos, Nasarawa, Osun, Yobe, and Zamfara states. Joining me to discuss this in the studio, I have via Zoom, I have Niyi Saliu, political analyst, and in the studio, I have Justice Ojeno, a lawyer.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Justice. Mr. Niyi, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
All right. Let me get your thoughts on the 28 nominees submitted so far. Were there any surprises among them?
Well, you know, before the submission, it was a list that was long awaited. And it was important to also beat the 2-month deadline, you know, that was set by, you know, the bill passed during the last days of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, well, the president promised that it was going to be a mixture of politicians, technocrats, youths, and women. And he kept his word. From the list, we had about 7 women, and we said about 14 nominees to go. In my view, that was quite unprecedented. And we had youths too. We had politicians and, you know, technocrats. So it's a mix of, you know, all the key components of the society, which is good for any team. You know, it's a mix of experience, highly competent people, seasoned administrators, and you know, young people who are quite promising, women who have, you know, distinguished themselves in the society. So I think it was a list that was carefully, you know, put together, and the nominees, of course, emerged from a lot of consultation, and a lot of things too came into the consideration, which clearly included their competence, their skill set, you know, background, experience, and the rest. So it was expected of the president, and it didn't disappoint.
Right. You said the president didn't disappoint because it was expected of him. Now, the idea of 7 out of 28 nominees being women, and, you know, there's 14 remaining. Do you expect more women to be among the 14 remaining?
Okay, if it's as per the Constitution actually didn't stipulate that, okay, it should be this sex, it should be that sex. But of course, there are currently affirmative actions endorsed by the UN, and which the president too has touted that is going to do if given the opportunity, which is at least 30% of cabinet should be reserved exclusively for women. I want to expect that the president will do it, but again, if he doesn't do it, it is his right not to. I say because as a people, we seem to be bifurcated. By bifurcation, I mean we ask for women, we ask for competence. we ask for, okay, this person must be from my neck of the woods, must be nominated from my state. We also ask for competence. So we have to, at some point, choose. So I feel that the president should, at the end of the day, if women are the most competent and they can constitute 70% of the cabinet, I think it is the way to go.
Interesting. Nii, as the new ministers prepare to take office the coming weeks, what would be your expectation for their performance?
Yes, I will expect that they will hit the ground running. A lot of them, they are quite seasoned, administrators, politicians, they've always been part of a lot of things in nation building. So it shouldn't be a problem, starting off. So I expect them to hit the ground running. I expect them to bring their experience to bear on the task that they'll be given. I am confident that the president will put round pegs in round hole. They are going to get responsibilities that they will be very, very skilled at and competent at. So it shouldn't be a problem, tapping from the springboard that the president has launched since he came into office and, deliver to Nigerians the expected dividends of democracy. So I do not have any doubt that this team is very good. I do not doubt their competence and skill set and the experience that I've gathered over the years through various responsibilities that they have done and done well. So I expect performance from day one.
All right, just like he said he expects performance from day one. What other means do you think these nominees can really come together to work with the president to, to ensure good governance?
Okay, for me, I think that there should be a workshop first to school them on the parameters of the agenda of the president, of the administration as a whole. And aside from the cabinet people being schooled, they should also be giving members of boards and parastatals that will not be in conflict with the ministers, because no matter how well-intentioned they are, if the people heading the boards and parastatals are maybe feeling that, okay, yes, I was brought here by the chairman of the party, I was brought here by the president, Mr. Minister, you cannot, or Mrs. Minister, you cannot give me instructions. Because we also have youths as members of the cabinet. Yeah, I'm 60 years old. I've been an official of this ministry before you were born. So you cannot even give me instructions on how to go. So those may really be issues. So round pegs in round holes, and they must be made to know that these people that are put to superintend over these ministries have the direct instructions and mandates and deliverables given to them by the president, and whatever support they can get. Civil servants too that are that are beneath them, with all due respect, should be reorientated about.
Speaking of orientation, you mentioned workshop. How possible is that to even start with? Because we don't see more of that. We don't see things like that to equip them, take up their performances.
Yes, a lot of that now has to be put in place. Seminars, workshops, and particular deliverables. We have societies, for example, the United Arab Emirates. It is said that their public service is more competent than their private sector. Can we sell the vision to our civil servants? They are not from the moon. They are not from the moon. They are also human beings. They are also Nigerians. They have good intentions to deliver a great society and great dividends of government to the people. So if we reorientate them, retrain them, the ones that are maybe not possible, because you have bad apples, you have bad eggs. If you cannot fix those ones, let them go and ensure that this thing is going to be working in the civil service is going to be driven by serious levels of professionalism. So with this in place, I think we'll do a lot better job as a government.